here today to talk about balancing our our creative work
Mhm.
life with our careers. I have a special guest if you want to
Yeah.
introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hey everyone. I am Naisha. I'm one half of two mommies and a baby, and I'm excited to join this live. We're gonna just talk some real life stuff. Okay.
Yes, very, very live. And so, because you on your channel, you talk about a lot of your personal life, right? And
Mhm.
I know you like to travel. You're a mom. You
Yep.
are an advocate. You're going to school, and that's a lot of stuff. How do you do all that and have time to do your social media stuff and all your creative
Great
work?
point. I'm not even gonna lie to everyone. I'm still figuring it out daily, but I had to learn when to say no to like social outings. I had to learn, and I'm still learning I need to isolate myself. Like I literally told my wife, I was like, tomorrow, which is Wednesday, I said I need to stay. We could go to a co-working space. I said I need to stay later because
Mhm.
I have to complete my mission statement, my personal statement for grad school, and I'm like. I need to isolate. I can't be home. I can't be around other people. It's literally a room in my computer, and that's where I'm going to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, because you kinda have to find that balance between like, having your own place and getting your work done, but also
Yeah.
sometimes we get so I did an episode about suicide prevention, and we were
Hmm.
talking about how sometimes we isolate ourselves so much
Yeah.
that we do go into that spiral, and I know you have your wife to help support you. What are some other ways that you make sure that you have that alone time, but you also make
Mhm.
sure to get out and do things?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And it actually, unfortunately, in 2022, I had suicidal ideation because I think, after the pandemic, I lived in New York City all my life, but pandemic, we were just inside the house, and I was used to just going out. But pandemic came, and it was kind of the start. I became a mom in 2018, so literally like 2 years later, I was just in the house, trying to figure out my entrepreneurial ideas, and I just wasn't happy. So that definitely contributed. But I also was in therapy at that time, still am,
Mhm.
thankfully. But it showed me that I was not giving my all to my therapist. And that's something I love to share. If you're not telling your therapist the truth, you're kind of wasting your money and your time, just being very honest. And of course, everything is not going to come out in that first appointment. But it's really important to get it out so people can understand, not people, sorry, your therapist can understand the best route to help you. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that was great, and speaking of therapy, and, with it being Black History Month, I know a lot of my Black friends have told
Mhm.
me that there's a lot of stigma with
Mhm.
Black people in
Oh,
therapy,
yeah.
and I know that that's something that's something passionate for you about helping
Mhm.
people with mental health, especially Black women. What are some, advices or anything that you have for anyone in that situation?
Yeah, that's a lovely question because honestly, it stems down from our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers and going beyond that. Because it was like, why are you telling this person your business? That's literally like, why are you telling your person your business? Can't you just go to church? Can't you just pray? Yes, we can go to church and pray and add on to someone who is trained, someone who can acknowledge our feelings, our emotions without judgment, and so I can be a better person mentally and physically, emotionally, all of that. So yes, even being honest, when I told my mom I was in therapy, which I didn't tell her when I started, I told her maybe 8 to 12 months after because I was nervous. That's something that came up in therapy because I felt my mom was going to judge me and be upset with me.
Mhm.
So it was a journey, and it still is. Some people are like, why are you paying someone $150 because therapy is costly just to talk about, just to talk. But listen, are you first of all, you're judging me. So that's not gonna help me. I need to talk to someone who's really, really there with an open ear and again trained to help me walk through my process.
Yeah, and anyone listening, if you have any thoughts on therapy,
Mhm.
because this is something that's very important to me, and I think that it's very extra important for those in the art and creative
Yes.
communities and moms, especially we're both moms,
Yep.
to get that help. I'm in therapy.
Cheers.
This thing recently has been understanding a lot of these lies that we not lies that we tell to ourselves, but, fallacies,
Yeah.
seeing things in black and white or constantly using the should've, could've,
Mhm.
would've, like, those kind of things, and in regards to in regards to balancing, 'cause, that was the main topic, what are some ways that you have taken what was in therapy to balance your life?
Yes, so definitely saying no. I didn't say no much, and I still could say no more often now, but saying no brings in that balance. Like if I can't do three things in one day, I'm talking event, school event for my daughter, even hanging out with my wife or my best friend. I'm like, I want to, but I just can't. I need to take a break. I need to
Mhm.
take a nap. So that
Mm.
definitely is important. Saying no. And also knowing when to shut down. I actually also have epilepsy, and my seizures come from stress
Mm.
and lack of sleep. So if I'm not getting enough hours
Mhm.
of sleep, then it's not going to work out for me. So I really have to understand when to say no and just understand it's okay to take a break.
Yeah, yeah, and finding and again, balance balance is like the subject of the
Mhm,
thing, finding that balance between, between taking a break, but also not I think my problem is that I took too much of a break, and now I'm just
mhm,
like, "I don't need to do anything. I'm
okay,
good. If it's not
mhm.
absolutely essential to my survival, I'm not gonna do it," and it kinda got me in a slump.
Understandable. You're not
So
alone. I still have those days. Like, listen, I'm just going to just sit right here. It takes me a while to get out of bed sometimes. And also we're in the winter season. Like if we're not getting enough vitamin D, if we're not interacting with people, that comes about. And that's just shared from what I've learned from therapists. Like, listen, the seasonal depression is a thing. So do
mhm.
not put anything bad on yourself.
Yeah, I actually have something called I was misdiagnosed with bipolar,
Okay.
but in reality, it's actually what um I have some I'm neurodivergent and
Hmm.
I'm diagnosed with autism,
Hmm.
ADHD, and seasonal bipolar.
Okay.
So which is seasonal bipolar is like basically seasonal affection disorder,
Yep.
but it's like you also have the highs in the summer and then the lows in the winter.
Yes.
And some people have it reversed,
Okay.
where their lows are in the summertime and their highs
Hmm.
are in the winter, which I think is interesting. But, I wouldn't have known a lot of that stuff if I didn't,
Yep.
talk to my therapist and make sure that I was doing the right things for the right time of year. And that was definitely affecting, that affects your work, it affects your
Mhm.
family,
It does.
and can cause conflict. I know, with a child, how do you make sure that your work does it ever cause conflict with that? And if so, how do you make
Oh,
sure to
yeah.
deal with it?
Oh, yeah, it causes conflict, and I had to be honest with my daughter. I believe, today's Tuesday. On Sunday, I said, "I know I was a little frustrated, but I just was feeling a little overwhelmed. I can't do everything." I'm honest with her. She's 7 years old now, and I'm happy. And I tell her also, it's okay for you to take a moment. If she's crying, uh, take a moment. And I said, Abigail, you know how I tell you to take a moment. Sometimes I need to take a moment, and I'm thankful. She's 7 and she understands that, so that brings a lot of joy. Does she always acknowledge that in the moment? No, which is fine. But later on, we'll talk about it because I'll ask her, like, "Do you feel a little better?" Just if she was upset, perfectly fine. So overall, my point is, I have to be honest with her just so I don't feel guilty, and I think that's where it comes from. I don't want the mom guilt later on, like, darn, I should have just played with my child, but I didn't feel
Yeah.
up to it. I didn't want to give that attention at that moment. So I'm thankful. Like, she'll be upset that I didn't play or that I didn't do something, but I'll just talk about it in a couple of hours or so.
Yeah, because you're there for her. I mean, my
Mhm.
mom, when I was 10, my mom left my family. She
Okay.
left to
Yeah.
to another country to go study art there.
Mhm.
And so for me, that mom guilt was so real because I don't want to abandon my child, like
Yeah.
my child, even if it was only for like 10 minutes. And I became
Yeah.
kind of a helicopter mom. And so that
Yeah.
was a really hard lesson that sometimes I just need to take time for myself and let
Mhm.
her, still make sure she knows that I'm there for her. Just, well, mommy needs I'm not abandoning you. I just,
Right.
need a little time because if mommy is not doing well, I can't be a good
Yes.
mom to her because you got to take care
Yes.
of yourself to take care of her, right? And what are some ways of like, are there any other things that you do to make sure that you're mental health is good enough, to have that creativity and have a good, you know,
Yeah, so to
family
have
life.
to balance my daughter, another thing, I'm like physically here more with my daughter. My wife, she works very often, which I'm grateful
Mhm.
for. But I'm physically here. So in my mind, I feel good when my daughter's fed. I mean, it may sound easy,
Yeah.
but if I like I give her I ask her I ask her, what would you like to eat? Do you want your she loves cucumbers. Do you want your cucumbers sliced, or do you want to eat it whole? She can eat a whole like a regular cucumber, she just eats it. So having that open dialogue, make sure I let her watch TV. You know, if I need to get some work done, like what else am I gonna do? You know, I
Yeah.
have to get some work done. I work from home also. I'll be in school from home, kind of a hybrid situation. So acknowledging that I'm doing my best. You know, I'm not just sitting here. I'm not just sitting here. I'm actually being productive. So that brings me inner joy because I know that my
Mhm.
daughter's tended to and I'm tending to. When my wife comes home, majority of the time, dinner is cooked. Not all the time, just being honest.
Mhm.
I try not to ask my wife to do much more because she does a lot. She runs her dad's business as well as manages
Mhm.
property. I try not to, and she does the same for me. She try not to ask me to do much because who knows what's on our workload. And then when we come together, we can kind of debrief about our day, or talk about goals. That's something we do. We're big on talking about goals and debriefing and things like that.
Aw, I love that. And do you ever include your child with, talking about goals, or do you involve her in your work at all?
Yeah, so as far as talking about goals, it's so interesting. We do have to finish it. We created a 6 month plan. Like we just literally went to the dollar store, got a poster board and some calendars from the dollar store, and it's our 6 month goal list. We asked Abigail, like, what she didn't really understand it, of course. Well, we said, you're in first grade. How many new sight words do you want to know? How many new places you want to travel? Do you want to learn a new hobby? She's in swimming right now. Obviously, she's getting new spelling words each week, which I enjoy. My bachelor's in English, so I enjoy helping her learn those words. So we just had to walk her through that process, and I was like, did you realize you met your goal? Do you realize that you're working toward that goal? So I really hope in the future when she's working toward goals, no matter how big or small, she really understands that she's doing something to achieve, literally a goal. So yes, to answer your
Yeah.
question, absolutely.
Yeah, instilling those kind of things early on is really important. And like when she sees you
Mhm.
doing those things and creating, reaching your goals and doing something that you love, that probably inspires her to do things that she loves, right?
I hope so. I hope so. It makes me smile when I'm not a helicopter parent. Majority of the time I'm not because I'm like, listen, you can do you, I'm gonna do me. But I understand the definition. No, yeah, I'm not there, but I'm more hands-on and more assertive than my wife. My wife is like, she's good. But I'm like, no, does she have this? Does she have that? Is she good? Does she understand? So that's where I am. I just lost my train of thought. But oh yes, so the other night she walked into my room because I just had a hysterectomy. It was almost it's like 30 days. So the other night I usually sleep with my wife, obviously, but my daughter still sleeps in our bed. So I'm sleeping in the guest room because that girl is long. She kicks, she punches, and
Same
I
with
cannot
mine.
get I can't get kicked in the stomach because I'm gonna be in pain. So the other night she came into the room I'm sleeping in. She said, "Do you need anything? Are you okay? I'm about to go to bed. Do you need anything?" And that made me smile because that's something I do with her. Like I'm like, but I'm not always so gentle. I'm like, Abigail, do you need anything? I'm about to go to my desk. I, I can't get up. I'm about to go on the knee. So when she did it to me, I said, okay, this is great. She's seeing things that I'm doing and she's modeling it. So I hope she's doing that, in the future too.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like you're a really good example for her. And so I know you're on a lot of platforms, right?
Mhm.
Is there a favorite platform that you have?
Ooh, so YouTube is new for me. I'm enjoying. We're part of Creative Life. I love when the creatives come together. So YouTube, I'm looking forward to because I've heard that it's most challenging. Like it's just not
Yeah.
just put up a 10-second video and you're going viral. It's not that. So I look forward to accomplish, and I'm hitting the accomplishments. I can always do more. So YouTube, I don't want to say is not my favorite, but I know it's going to challenge me most. My favorite is Threads because it reminds me of the OG Twitter. Not on Twitter. I was on Twitter for work, but we exited out Twitter. We're on Threads, so I'm on Threads for work and personal. And I just scroll and I just see the happiness. Like once I set up my algorithm, I mean, you see YouTubers, and it keeps me inspired. I see Black therapists. Obviously, it keeps me inspired to do that work that I will be doing in the near future. So to answer it, it's Threads because it's not so video and photos in your face, and they kind of just got ads. I saw it the other day, like literally 2 days ago.
Oh,
They just
yeah.
got ads. Yeah, I was like, oh, I was enjoying no ads. And then now the trolls are coming. I was like, dang, we were enjoying it for at least a year or so. But I still enjoy it. But I have a lot of fun. I just be talking my crap in my Instagram stories. I just be so it's fun. So to answer, it is Threads, then Instagram, but YouTube, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I'm
Yeah.
like, because yeah, I was getting, like, really into YouTube in the beginning, and then I
Hmm.
just stopped because it was so
I
hard.
understand. I
Like, on
understand.
TikTok, it's so easy to get, followers or, like and a lot
Yes.
of these other ones, but
Yeah.
and and then on Threads, I started out, like, I got a lot of followers in the beginning, but then I
Mhm.
accidentally started, I got on the wrong sides of Threads, and
Oh,
I went all about, like, the political
got it.
stuff
See, it's
and
you know
whatever,
how the
and I
algorithm.
lost, like, 500 followers,
Got
and
it.
because
Okay.
they're like, I follow you for art, not to talk about
I
politics," and so
see.
I'm like,
Oops.
"Sorry." So I'm like, "I need to make a separate Threads
Okay.
account
Yeah.
that just, talks about all the, like,
Yeah.
political stuff, and then have my own one for art." So
Yeah, and that's do it, and because the goal is just to talk so we can get it all out. Because with artists, parents, content creators, listen, we need to just get it all out. So
yeah.
that's where it is when it's fun when it comes to the social media platforms. I can share a fun fact. I'm actually not on
Ooh,
TikTok. I didn't join the platform because again, it was just like an overwhelming thing. When you're a content creator, it's like, oh, I have to keep up on every platform. And I'll be honest, it's
mhm,
mainly me. Our name is Two Mommies and a Baby, but my wife is not really the pick up a camera and be vulnerable person. I have to
yeah.
prep her, and I'm okay with that now. Before I used to be upset. I'm not gonna lie to you. We had a podcast. That's the reason why I did not start a YouTube page like years ago. We had a podcast. It was me coming up with the ideas. She was on the podcast, but it was a little difficult for us to find that balance. And she's
Yeah,
aware, I'm honest. I'm like, listen, I'm not doing any other ventures because it's mainly me when it comes to the creative, not the creative side, thinking of the ideas only, but publishing and editing and things like that. I was very overwhelmed. And I know that's also where my depression came in, was because I'm like, all these things. Yeah, everyone's saying they made thousands of dollars, which is always not true on these platforms. And I'm not making a dollar, but I'm putting out the work, but it's
yeah.
only me. So that's just to add that in there.
Yeah, because it's like it's for making money off the platforms, it's not just work, it's really understanding how
Yeah.
things work and luck, maybe a little bit of luck, and really
Hmm.
because you have to understand the things that you don't really want to understand. You're like, "I just wanna make pretty things," and you're like,
Yes.
"Okay, I also need to understand SEO and, like,
Yeah,
all
my
those stuff."
videos, I had to acknowledge that it's okay for my videos to be somewhat edited, not a raw. It's not explosions, it's not big bells and things like that because, like I said, I would become overwhelmed and I won't do it. So
Mhm.
I learned, I use iMovie now. A film professor at Spelman, she was like, just use iMovie. Trying to use CapCut. God, could not get it. So when I went over to iMovie, I was like, oh, this is better, not easy, but better. And I have more fun. But just I had to acknowledge, like, Naisha, you don't have to be like the other people. If yours
Yeah.
are simply edited, are you getting the word out? Are you hitting publish? Are you literally doing what you do to bring joy? Because I get joy when I share a message or something like that. Yes, I'm hitting all those bullets. Then fine, you don't have to be it doesn't have to be a perfect video. I tell myself that.
Yeah, and you were talking also about being vulnerable.
Mhm.
What are some ways that you have shown that vulnerability? Has there been any challenges with that, and how did you overcome it?
Ooh, yeah, and I feel like I'm looking forward to stepping into more of sharing my vulnerability. Like a lot of people don't know I was on antidepressants. I'm not on them anymore. For about 2 years, I was on them. So people didn't know. So that's something I'm going to share. But being vulnerable, like even to me, even showing up without makeup on social media for me was being vulnerable. So I like my hair bald. I'm a baldy. I actually sometimes go live. Not sometimes. I've been starting to go live at least every 10 days with when I cut my hair. That's when I cut my hair. So when I have hair, I don't like it. But I'm like, listen, this is my community. I'm going to show up, showing up without earrings. So more of to answer more about appearance and no filters. I'm like, Naisha, this is your true self, girl. Forget about the filters. Just show up. So that's pretty vulnerable. I look forward, like this week, I'm going to share some things about antidepressants because a lot of people think that it should be on the hush hush. And
Mm.
I just didn't feel like talking about it. I was sharing things about therapy, but never told anyone I was on antidepressants on social media. My inner circle knew. My mom didn't know. So if my mom ever sees this, yeah, I don't even think my mom knew, to be honest, because I just didn't share it. So I look forward to being myself. That's what I've seen a lot of creators who has hit success goals that I look forward to hitting. They really say, just be authentic and be yourself.
Yeah, and then sometimes, because I know for me, I've gone, like, without makeup or,
Mhm.
whatever, and I have gotten quite a few rude comments, but I've gotten a
Mhm.
lot of, like, really supportive ones
There you go.
too.
Yes.
So um yeah, just learning having that community, right? Having that community of people who, even if, you get the bullies, whatever,
Mhm.
having that community of people who will stick up for you and
Yeah.
advocate for you and, be there for you. How has community and that support helped you with continuing on
Ooh.
when you have hardships?
Yeah, oh my goodness, I love that. So, ironically, the community is not on social media just yet. Like I kind of went blank, and you share the same thing as well on Instagram. I just stopped posting because I know I was depressed. Now, my community, I work with Therapy for Black Girls, which I'm very grateful. So, I actually run our private community. It's specifically for Black women, and we just show up vulnerable. We cry together, we vent, we ask for advice that we wouldn't normally ask for with our within our family member circle, and we keep it real. We talk about finances because not a lot of people are open to talk about those things.
Mhm.
We talk about, listen, I didn't even take a shower yesterday, but we're showing up. I'm still here. So my private community, I definitely have that. I'm looking forward to it. Like it's so interesting. Like even saying it here, I'll share it here, but I'm like, man, you should get that content out there because people can relate to you more. So thank you for asking me that question because I know I need to be more vulnerable on my Instagram and my YouTube page. Now, even with YouTube, I'm ready to cry. I'm ready to do that, but I didn't do it on Instagram because kind of felt like my page. I don't know. I was like 5 people are showing up, but I had to realize those 5 people you're impacting. But it's gonna change.
Yeah, I love that you have, in addition to the social media kind of community, you have that private community. I know that I've
Mhm.
kind of developed that private community as well,
Yeah.
just to get me through a lot of things. And I have noticed that people who have been through hardships or
Mhm.
discrimination and stuff like that, for me being autistic and having
Mhm.
my disabilities, and then also, like, most of my communities, it is mostly Black women because
Mhm.
Black women, like, they make the best community. They're so supportive, and I'm, like, really, really appreciative of that, and I feel like when you go th when you're in a situation where people don't quite understand you, it helps make
Mhm.
your community stronger
Yes.
and brings you together. I don't know if your experience with any of that?
Yeah, oh my first of all, I wanna say thank you, for being honest. Like, listen, Black women are showing up for me. So thank you for just acknowledging that, and I'm happy that that community is here. And guess what? Now I'm gonna be a part of your community. We connected we connected a couple days ago, probably like 48 hours ago, and now I look, to being there for people who are authentic, because that's where the community builds, when people are real. That the stuff that is like, let me just do this for Instagram and make my life Instagrammable. People do show up for those people, but I don't know. Speaking from my experience, is like, well, what are you giving me? Are you giving me real life, or are you giving me something that I can't afford? Just being very honest. You're flying
Yeah.
first class abroad. That's not something I can afford. So am I going to go toward you or someone who gave me their journey? It took them 5 days to get abroad because they had to take 5 different flights. I don't know, something like that. I want to follow along. That's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to being a part of your community.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, for
Because
sure.
yeah, we do talk a lot about mental health, and I think it's. I remember when I was first diagnosed.
Hmm.
I was 19. I just turned 19, and it was very stigmatized then. Like nobody talked about it, and I was so ashamed in the beginning. And then I'm like, screw this. All right. Again, my diagnosis at the time was bipolar. I'm like, whatever, I'm
Mhm.
bipolar, everyone. This is me. And everyone made fun of me. Everyone's like, oh, crazy out of here. Um, but but yeah, and so I'm just like, for a while I was, oh, the crazy one who, nobody took seriously. But then more and more people would come up to me and be like, I am so grateful that you were, because I'm diagnosed with, depression or bipolar or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I was so scared to talk about it. But then I saw you,
Yes,
not
yes.
caring, and so many people, like, I've had dozens of
I
people,
love
like
it.
coworkers,
Yes.
classmates, all these people come up to me and be like, "I have this too, but I've been so scared to tell anyone."
Mhm.
So, I don't know.
Ooh.
So, I'm just very grateful for people who are,
Yes,
like,
that's
authentic about it.
real, because we need that. We need the authenticity. It's real. Now, with me, it's interesting. People say that to me about my bald head. People who want to become bald, or people who are bald, by not by choice, because of health reasons. And I'm bald by choice. I just don't want hair. I don't want to deal with it. It's extra work. The hairstyles that I would want, I'm used to like braids. It will cost $200 plus. Don't want it. So people come to me, you're inspiring me to cut my hair, or they will have a wig on because health reasons. They will say, I just want to take my wig off just because of you, and I say, please do it. They go, no, I can't. I'm like, do it. So I haven't followed up with them, but if I can help them in some type of way, that brings joy. Like I said, I'm bald by choice, and I cut my hair 14 years ago because I couldn't afford to get my hair done. I was in college and I couldn't afford it. So I'm like, just cut this thing off. And I've been bald ever since. But people come up to me daily and share that, like, you're inspiring me, and I cut my hair, but I don't want to show it. So I have a wig on. So hopefully those people, later on, I never followed up with them, but they could, realize that it's okay to be you.
Do you live somewhere that's hot at all, or
I live in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. So,
Yes,
yeah,
I
I
live
guess
in
pretty.
Atlanta.
When I
Yeah.
was in I lived in Florida for a
Okay.
while, and
Hmm.
I had a mohawk, actually, like,
Okay.
'cause I was like, "It is so hot."
It's hot.
Uh,
Exactly. It's hot.
and I
Like,
had, like, a little baby who was pulling my hair, so I'm just like, "Woo!"
that's it.
Cut it
Just take it off. Oh
um,
yes.
so,
So you
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, and then it goes through, and then I grew it out, and it, like, had to go through that awkward, like, it
Growing
finally got out of that awkward phase of, like,
like recently?
short, but yeah, like, it's finally long
Really?
enough, because before it was
Okay.
like this.
Yes, yes.
And then
I
it just
couldn't even
recently grew a lot more, but for, like, a year, it was like
I love it. I
it
didn't
looked
even
so
know.
silly.
If you didn't tell me, I would not have known. But that aqua phase, I understand. Like that's how it is with if
So
I'm
I was wearing a wig,
oh
yeah.
my
I was
God. Okay,
like
got it. You were wearing a
and then
wig.
my wig would fall off it fell off during a live.
All right. You made it through it.
And I'm just like, "Whatever."
Whatever. This is what it is.
Luckily, it was with people who also wore wigs, So they were just like, "Ah, I'm wearing a wig too."
You
And
know
so,
what?
again, it, like, helped with that, like, not feeling so awkward,
I understand
so
100%. And wigs, like they cost a lot of money and they're also maintenance. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just go my bald self because
yeah.
it's, I feel sexier as a woman, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
looks really good on you, like,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome that you could pull it off. I have, one of my one of my sister well, 2 of my sisters, one of them was gonna go bald, one of them
Hmm.
did like, it wasn't completely bald, but it was kind of
Yeah.
like a really, really short,
Yeah.
like a buzz type thing.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's growing out to, like, here,
I
but
love
she
it.
loves it. She's just like,
Yeah.
"I don't care." So yeah, similar kind of thing because she was inspired by people like you, and she was like, "I'm gonna
Yeah.
go bald too." So,
Yes. Do it.
anyway, yeah.
Do it.
Um, but yeah, I love how much you are there for other people and how you are open to doing that, and I really appreciate you coming on and giving a lot of the advice because I love what you were saying about just, like, sometimes we have to say no, and
Mm.
sometimes, we have to realize that. Do you have any kind of closing remarks for anyone
Yeah.
who might be feeling overwhelmed on how to balance their creative business and other life?
Yes, for sure. So this won't be for parents. It's okay if you don't feel like you're doing your best today. Listen, you have done your best many days. If you need it, we all need a moment. So take that moment. Don't feel guilty. Please don't. And of course, it's easier said than done. But once you feel that moment that you just need to stop, it's okay to stop. Your child, trust me, they want to go play with their toys or they want to use their iPad. Do not feel guilty. They're fine. And then for creators and content creators, whew, I'm learning still every day, but just keep showing up for yourself because your community will be built from there. People want to know more about you than you believe. So keep showing up. And I had to learn it's okay to follow trends because people want to see how you're going to do something as well. If we want to do everything our way, but we have to say like Naisha, the people want to see what we're doing as well. So yeah, and I'm
Again,
learning
that
every day.
balance, right?
The
Balance
balance,
between
exactly.
doing the trend, but also making it your own. And I
Yep.
forgot to tell you too, anyone who I interview gets a cute little cartoon
Oh,
of you because I draw cartoons of all my guests. So you get a little cartoon of you. So
fun.
I'll work on that sometime. You'll see it in the thumbnail, and I'll send you one, but it'll be
Thank
adorable.
you. Oh my gosh, that's so
But
fun.
yeah, if you
Okay,
wanna send me,
sweet.
like, a little reference photo of,
Okay.
like, something to go by, but yeah. Anyway, well, I will let you go, but thanks so much for
Yes.
coming on, and maybe sometime I'll go on your channel, and
Okay,
we'll do a
we
live there.
will. Thank you
Awesome.
so much. Enjoy your
Alright, have a
day,
good
okay?
day. Bye.
Bye.